Who are your top quarterbacks heading into this season? Number 5, we'll go from 5 to 1 here. Number 5 for me is Aaron Rodgers, right? MVP of the league, played incredible football all season long for the Packers last year. Kind of did so in a surprising manner, right? Not many people kind of saw an MVP year coming from Aaron Rodgers. I don't even think the Packers saw this year from Aaron Rodgers coming. The reason why he's number 5 for me, and that's, I would say, pretty lower on lists that you'll hear a lot this summer, for twofold. Number 1, can he, in your mind, truly replicate what he did in 2021 compared to what he did in 2020? Like, he was incredible last season. 48 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Again, MVP of the league. You can make the argument he had the best year of his career last year. He was awesome. Part of the reason I have, I guess, my doubts or I have questions is that everything kind of went Green Bay's way last year. Right? Aaron Rodgers looked super comfortable. He was unreal. Making all the right reads, all these incredible tight window throws. I mean, that's who Aaron Rodgers is, right? He's still one of the most talented quarterbacks in the NFL. But when you even look at the small things like health, fluidity of the offense, like Green Bay last year kind of got every single break they possibly could have gotten. And it still wasn't enough in the end to win a Super Bowl. But we're just talking talent here. We're just talking skills, right? To me, I find it hard for Aaron Rodgers, at his age, 37 years old, now kind of going to a very turbulent offseason where even if he does return, I don't think he's going to return for the Packers. And we'll get to that in a second. And that kind of has also an impact to do with the rankings. But even, let's just say he does return, where the offense is very similar. The offensive line, outside of Corey Linsley, who does return. Matt LaFleur, obviously, is still there as head coach. So not a lot of turnover from 2020 to 2021. A lot of the pieces that he had success last year with are still there this year. But it has been a very turbulent, very rocky offseason. And I do wonder, him, missing mini camps, missing OTAs for the first time in his career, kind of having all this drama over his head, I do think it will serve as a little distraction. Not terrible. Maybe, by the season, week 3 or 4, we're forgetting all about this. I do think it will have some sort of effect to where I will be surprised if he can replicate, if not top, what he did in 2020. So Aaron Rodgers, tremendous. I still think he will have a great season. I mean, he's number 5 on my list. I'm not saying the guy's going to stink. I just think when it comes to having some other quarterbacks, some others will pass by him this year. That's to me why he's number 5. Also, I just mentioned before, another reason why he is 5 on this list, I don't think he's going to be a Packer in 2021. I still don't. I'm still holding strong, holding firm that he will be traded. When? That's the big question. It looks like it's going to become closer and closer to the season where at least maybe the next tension point where things can really go right is the start of training camp in exactly a month from now. So if he doesn't show, if he's still not happy, if he still wants to trade, well, if you're getting traded first week of August to a new team, there's a lot of catch-up that goes on there, which slows, kind of slows your roll here and slows you down to start the season. So Denver, I mean, that's probably right now, I would say, the most logical landing spot. If he's traded to the Broncos and has basically a month to get on the same page with everyone, I think he's going to start off the 2020 season slow. Again, with that said, I still think he'll be a top 5 quarterback, but he is going to have to take some adjusting to the playbook, the new players. That will lead to a slow start, similar to what we saw with Tom Brady and Tampa this year, where it took Tom almost 3/4 of the year to kind of get going there. I do think that, first of all, the drama, the fact that he had such a great year, I think it's hard to replicate. And I don't think he's going to be a Packer in 2021. So I think the adjustment period going to a new team will ultimately all add up to Aaron Rodgers having still a really good year, but not win MVP, not be the best quarterback in the league. I think to me, he is number 5. Number 4, I'm going Matthew Stafford. I feel like Matthew Stafford hasn't gotten the respect he's deserved. And look, I get it, right? He was in Detroit for so long. They made the playoffs 3 times, didn't win a playoff game. He had Calvin Johnson, but not really much else. It really was Matthew Stafford and nobody else. So I'm excited for him in Los Angeles here because now he finally has a real team around him. Matthew Stafford has help as a full team the first time in his career. Right? He now has a tremendously gifted, smart, talented offensive coach to coach him up, put him in position to succeed. No offense to Jim Bob Cooter or Jim Schwartz or Jim Caldwell or Matt Patricia. There hasn't been a coach to kind of get the best out of Matthew Stafford in Detroit for a while. And again, he was doing a lot of his work on his own. So now you have a great coach to help put you in position to succeed. You have an elite run game. Scheme, production. They have a great run game, which guess what? In his 11 years in Detroit, you know how many 1,000-yard rushers Matthew Stafford had with the Lions? 1. There was never a consistent run game, which again led to it being the Matthew Stafford show. Really solid wide receivers. And how about this? A really damn good defense. Basically, everything he didn't have in Detroit for his entire career, he now has in Los Angeles with the Rams. I think that is going to translate really well for Stafford. I think he's going to have a big year. I feel like I'm a little higher on Stafford than a lot of people, and I think we will see. Man, I get it. There are quarterbacks there. You kind of want to see it before you believe it. That's fine. I'm believing it before I see it with Matthew Stafford. I think this is going to be a big year for him, big year for the Rams. I am so excited to see Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay work together. I think he'll have a big season. That's why he is number 4. So we're doing top 5 quarterbacks heading into 2021. Aaron Rodgers, number 5 for me. Matthew Stafford, number 4. Who are your top quarterbacks? Who are your top 5 lists if you want? Facebook Worldwide Sports Network. Twitter, WWSRN_radio at Ryan Hickey Show on Twitter as well. Russell Wilson is number 3 for me. And the Seahawks better hope that this actually comes to fruition. He is a top 3 quarterback in the NFL this year. Now, I do think the Seahawks, and I hope that the Seahawks learn their lesson from this past offseason, which is what? Let Russell Wilson cook more. He was frustrated. The reason why he called out the Seahawks, is because guess what? The first half of the year, they were letting them play. They were letting Russ be Russ and actually do what franchise quarterbacks do. Play loose, play free. Pete Carroll then got nervous, got scared, put the restraints on the offense, and they struggled the second half of the year. That led to his frustration. That led to the veiled comments about the offensive line, which, again, not really was about the offensive line getting hit as much as it was about frustration with Pete Carroll and his control of the offense, not allowing Russ and the offense to cook. And guess what? I do think now, kind of him calling out the team did serve as a wake-up call to Pete Carroll and the rest of this offense. So I think we will see more first-half Russell Wilson in 2021. The second half, Russell Wilson. Because guess what? In the first half, again, they let Russ cook, and it was working. Through the first 8 games of the season, Russell Wilson threw 28 touchdown passes, 8 interceptions. 28 touchdown passes the first 8 games of the year. You know the offense average on a per-game basis, points-wise? 34 points per game. They're the best offense in football. The last 9 games, including the playoff loss to the Rams, he threw just 14 touchdowns. Production cut in half. Seahawks averages 22.7 points per game. So the offense really was bogged down. You can point to that being the reason why they lost the playoff game to the Rams with a quarterback combo of John Wolford and Jared Goff with a broken thumb in his throwing hand. They lost at home to a backup quarterback who was elevated to the starter because the coach liked the backup better than the starter. And then when the backup got hurt, they were forced to put in Jared Goff with a broken thumb on his throwing hand, and they still went into Seattle and won. This has to change this offseason. I do think the Seahawks will listen to Russ and let him work the offense more. It seems to be going well so far with the new offensive coordinator, Shane Waldron. Hopefully, again, Shane Waldron sees the stats. Pete Carroll looks back and says, man, first half of the year, maybe the interceptions were a tad high. But, man, that offense was humming. That offense was in the groove. We got to get back to that. I think they will. I think Russell Wilson, and I think the Seahawks have no choice but to let Russ cook and let him go. Because if not, if we have a repeat of the second half of last year, I can guarantee you Russ is out. If they put the clamps on the offense, if they want to play conservative, I will be floored if Russell Wilson does return for 2022. That could be the last straw. So the Seahawks really have no other option. Let Russ cook. And guess what? It's best for the team as well. So I have Russell Wilson at number 3. Number 2, Tom Brady. Because even when you look at last year, right? Again, struggle for 3 quarters of the year, if you will, kind of never truly felt comfortable until after the bye week. So despite the little offseason Tom Brady had going from New England to Tampa Bay, right? Playing for the first time, playing with a new team for the first time in 2 decades, he still finished with really strong stats. Threw 40 touchdowns, second in the NFL. threw for 4,600 yards, third in the NFL. And now you look at the strong finish Tom Brady had. Obviously, they won the Super Bowl. Basically, the entire two deep on offense returns. So you went from Tom Brady having little continuity, no familiarity with this new team he's going with. The system Bruce Arians runs is a lot different than what Tom Brady's used to in New England. New receivers, new offensive line, new running game, new everything. Now, after throwing the second most touchdowns and for the third most yards and winning the Super Bowl, everyone on offense returns. Head coach Bruce Arians is the same. Offensive coordinator Byron Leftwich is the same. To me, that adds up to 2021 being even better than 2020. And again, he was second and third in touchdowns and passing yards. Tom Brady went on the record and said he basically never felt comfortable in the offense, never felt comfortable calling plays and learning the terminology until after the bye week. The bye week was in week 13. So now you have a guy with a full offseason with everyone returning, the playbook staying the same, the offensive coordinator staying the same. This is going to add up to a huge, huge, huge year. Every offseason we always hear for the last 5 or 6 years, this is where Tom Brady declines. This is the year Tom Brady finally, meets Father Time and his play diminishes. Guess what? This isn't going to be the year. Save yourself now. Save your breath. Save your voice. Tom Brady's going to have an even better 2021 than you will in 2020. Think about it. 40 touchdowns, 4,600 yards, and for 3/4 of the year, wasn't really playing comfortable, wasn't really in his groove. He's going to hit the ground running in 2021. It's going to be a big year for Brady, big year for the Bucs. He is number 2. Number 1, who else is it? It's still the best quarterback talent-wise in the NFL. And that's Patrick Mahomes. Right? And think about it. The only thing that stopped him last year from back-to-back Super Bowls was, you could say, the offensive line. Right? You lose both of your starting tackles heading to the Super Bowl. Mahomes is running for his life. And he had no shot. So now you look, they did a solid job so far of retooling the offense. You got Joe Thuney, nice signing in free agency. They traded for Orlando Brown Jr. So now the offensive line, which was in flux to start the offseason, now has settled down. You still have Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, the best 1-2 dynamic, 1-2 punch, if you will, in the NFL. Clyde Edwards-Helaire going into year number 2, I think will have a better year, big bounce-back year, and really be utilized more in the passing game. And let's not forget, the last 27 games Patrick Mahomes has started, the Chiefs are 25-2. This guy, despite what we saw the last time he was out in the Super Bowl, not his fault at all. He is still the best quarterback in the game, really without argument. So Aaron Rodgers for me, number 5. Matthew Stafford, 4. Russell Wilson, 3. Tom Brady, 2. Patrick Mahomes, number 1. That is my top 5 list of quarterbacks heading into the 2021 season.